A tribute to flossing, and I don't mean the dance. What happened to this broken tooth? A friend so innocently asked. This normally would be a pretty straightforward question to answer. Something hard, it broke, I bit down too hard. But when this particular question came up, I felt it gnawing at me, making my emotions bubble up. My poor tongue was raw and sore from rubbing at the jagged edge. My taste buds burned from trying and failing to remove that little bit of food stuck up in the crevice that is now at the top left rear corner of my mouth. A hole, a cavity, what feels like a chasm. It's hard to ignore. To ignore it would mean I would have to stop eating. I really love eating. When I entertain the idea of forgetting that this crater is in my mouth and carelessly pop a morsel of deliciousness in my mouth, a jab of pain follows as food gets stuffed up in the hollow. Pay attention, Floss can't help you now. Keep your chewing to the other side. This is the story of a bit of simple sugar, 2 teeth, a resistant flosser turned fanatic, tenacious food, and failing floss. Now, dental hygiene starts at a very young age. I was the type of kid that would take more time and effort in faking that thing than actually taking the time to do the thing. Looking back, I marvel at the lengths I would go to avoid the simplest of tasks. I must have fancied myself a rebel, a renegade that would be pleasant and give off the appearance of conformity, but laugh to myself if only they knew I refused to follow their ridiculous rules. With time, I came to realize that the joke was on me. See, the thing is, my tongue just didn't like the feel of my teeth after brushing. My mouth felt dry and itchy. Flossing felt like an attack on my gums. I would just go in there so carefully and wiggle it in between the 2 teeth and push down, and then suddenly it would just shove right down into my gum and make my poor gums bleed. As I grew older, though, I realized the value of brushing and the positive effects of having breath that doesn't smell like roadkill. When braces came, it was even more important because of all the horror stories I heard of little square stains that threatened to follow me throughout my life. When the children came, my routine was forced into a higher importance. I had to set the example. For flossing, though, that was something the schools and dentists could teach because I refuse. I substitute with mouthwash. I'd say, go let daddy do it. He is the best of flossers. That was about until 5, maybe 6 years ago. A cavity was born between 2 teeth. A cavity that was repaired by a dentist. It will be just fine. No big deal. They fixed the hole. They put in the smallest of papers in between the 2 newly repaired teeth so that there would still be a gap. Just enough so I could stick that floss in. This fine, flimsy paper, fractions of a millimeter, just enough to let the floss slide in. But I feel like I could park my car in there instead. It all seemed routine. The problem is that ever since that they fixed that tooth, the tiniest of cavities, so tiny I didn't even need freezing, so tiny it was repaired right on the spot. Now, repaired, it gets food caught up in all the time. It leaves me irritated and annoyed. And I pick up that wax string and I wrap it around my fingers a little too tight. They're purple and numb, but I don't care. All I feel is that piece of food stuck up in there. I use a sample from my dentist, satin silk floss. I'm struck. It's the first time my floss doesn't get stuck. It glides with ease. My teeth are pleased. I rejoice as the food dislodges. That day I was transformed. After I received a Mother's Day card with questions that they have asked my kids, one that struck me made me laugh. What's your mom's favorite thing to do? My child wrote, my mom is really good at flossing. Though my flossing was bordering on obsession, every now and then something would get wedged up right in there deep in a secret place where no floss could reach. My tongue's routine tooth inspection one night came across an unfamiliar groove, and I realized to my horror, with the aid of my flashlight and camera, I had a hole. I guess that popcorn kernel was more than just a misbite. So I called my dentist just the other day. Unfortunately, with COVID, they're closed and only can prescribe me medication and pain relief. The government is holding their drills locked up tight. Are you in pain? Is it an emergency? For a second, I'm tempted, but I must confess, I have no physical pain in my mouth. But how do they discount the mental torment of worry that this hole is going to grow further and further and further in my mouth? And not to mention the future pain that I will surely experience. I'm advised to keep it clean with salt water. If it gets worse, they can patch up the hole with powder to stop things from getting worse. Ugh. This leaves me more concerned. So here I sit with my rotting tooth, awaiting for the call of the COVID rules to lift the gates and unlock my beloved dentist's most favorite tool. I can't help but wonder if this may have all been prevented if I had brushed my teeth more as a kid. Would my enamel be any stronger to resist? Instead of running my toothbrush under the tap and swallowing a pea-sized bit of toothpaste so I could have the fresh scent of a freshly brushed mouth, and using my toothbrush to scrub the sink. Scrub the sink instead of shining my teeth, all in an effort to convince my mom I had done my due diligence. I did what you asked, Mom. I hope that my tale persuades the most reluctant of flossers to please just pay the premium price for the best floss that you can find and tape it to your forehead if you must. But please just floss your teeth. Thank you so much for watching. Have you ever had something that gets stuck in your teeth and you just can't stop thinking about it? Leave a comment below and tell me about it. I know when it gets stuck in my teeth, there's nothing else I can think of. So annoying. Thanks again.